Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over a story titled, My Beloved Wife Cheated on Me and My Daughter Isn't Mine. How can I move forward as well as shake angry feelings? And guys, what we have here is a story about a guy who discovers that his 15-year-old daughter isn't his. His daughter turned 15, and on her birthday, she got a gift of one of those at-home DNA tests where you take the swab from your cheek, and you send it in, and you find out the results of, your background, what countries your family comes from, all that stuff. And he discovers that, guess what? This guy, his daughter finds out that her dad, this guy telling the story, is not her dad. And so obviously, 16 years earlier, whatever it happened to be, mom had a fling with somebody else. I mean, just imagine that. You're all excited to get these results, and you find out that your dad isn't your dad. And the dad finds out this daughter of his, that he thought it was his daughter for 15 years, is some other dude's daughter. It's crazy. And you're going to see, unfortunately, this has a whole negative domino effect on their whole life and their family and all that. And it's sad, guys, because you just never know really what's up. Because, there's no way that this girl's the only one walking around that obviously has her father isn't hers. Right? I'm sure there's plenty of people walking around, they go their whole lives and have no idea that their dad really isn't their dad. Or dads are walking around have no idea that their daughter or son isn't really theirs. And the best thing the wife could have done was, early on, admitted what happened. But now, this guy went through his whole life thinking this girl was his. And all along, the mother knew there was a possibility that it was not her husband's, Anyhow, guys, I'm going to go through this story here, share more. Starts off, this is going to be a long one. It's not that long. My wife and I were married for 21 years. I figure it was one of those miracle marriages because we barely argued and it seems like we were the best of friends, etc. Well, our 15-year-old daughter received a 23andMe thing for her birthday from a friend. And of course, it said that we weren't related. She had me do a swab as well as her mother and her 14-year-old brother. Only her brother and I seemed to be related. So I did a paternity test, and lo and behold, she wasn't my effing child. My ex-wife cried and pleaded with me to hear her out, but I just went numb to her. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being a fly on the wall when the results of that test, the DNA thing came in? Holy crap. The neighbors probably across the street heard all the commotion and yelling and crying going on there. And did the wife know that the girl was taking this test? I'm sure she must have been shivering in her shoes, knowing darn well what that test could reveal. He goes, it would be one thing to cheat, but to find out that the light of my life isn't even related to me killed me. Don't get me wrong, I love my daughter with all my heart. She's still my daughter no matter what. A lot of guys would have been like, that's it, or at least would have saw the girl differently. So the fact that this guy say, hey, no matter what, she's my daughter, that says a lot about him. I'm not judging. Either way, everybody's entitled to do what they want to do, have their own feelings on an issue, because I certainly don't know what that would feel like, because I don't have any kids. But that's got to be tough. But what's scaring me most is my seemingly vindictive desires. I've never been like this, and I know it's out of anger. But I want her to suffer so bad. He means the wife. The kids absolutely hate her, which on the one end helps that desire. But I know that deep down, she is still their mother, and I don't really want them to hate her. Her parents and siblings are all mortified at her. Her sister hasn't spoken to her in a couple months, and he says we all grew up together. Again, this makes me feel great, which in turn scares me because I don't actually want her life to go into shambles. But I can't help but feel euphoric when I learn something in her life is falling apart. Well, you can't blame this guy for being angry and betrayed and hurt and all those emotions. And you also can't blame him for wanting to see her go through some hurting for all what he's going through and what she put him through and her daughter. And I think that's an important stage people got to go through when something major traumatic has happened to them. They got to feel angry. They got to go through the emotions to let it out and all that to eventually move on and heal and start over. So this guy's actually feeling bad that he's feeling so angry and actually happy that she's suffering. And it's not his personality. I think that's part of the healing process, but obviously eventually that's going to change. He says, both children are living with me. Both children are living with me, and they don't view their mother in a favorable light right now. I'm thinking about having the talk about them going to talk to her because as of now, they refuse. The part that breaks my heart the most is that my daughter seems to be overcompensating her roles of a daughter. She makes sure to tell me how much she loves me and is, in essence, being the perfect daughter. But I can tell it's because she knows that she isn't biologically mine, but she desperately wants me to know how much she values me. I'm actually going to talk to her tonight about that, to tell her that she doesn't have to act any differently. I can imagine she's probably worried, really worried that you may just be like, hey, it's not my kid, or just simply he would treat her differently. So that shows this guy's a good guy, and he's letting her know, And it's good that she obviously loves her dad so much that she's going to show him how much she cares. I really got to wonder what their family life and dynamic was prior to this news coming out. Was the mom really, like he described, really a good mom to the kids, good wife? Was she perhaps, she did what she did back then and was trying to make up for it in some way? Hopefully there was no more cheating going on. I mean, I don't know. You don't find out, but I'd really like to know. I just really want to know how to shake the sadness and anger and vindictive feelings. I want to move forward as well as help my children move forward so they can worry about school and being teens. Please, any advice will help. I would say that got to go through the emotions, got to go through the anger, got to go through the hurt and all that, and eventually in time it will pass. And the same thing with the kids. But at the end of the day, no matter what, she's still their mom. And if she was like obviously a great mom to them growing up, that's different. But if she was, a rotten mother, that would be a different story as well. But I definitely think that in time, the saying goes, time heals all wounds. That doesn't mean you have to accept certain things, but time will heal wounds and you eventually move on, from that. And he provides us with an update. It says, I know it's been some time, but it actually destroys me to write about it. For some clarification, we did talk about it, and it was in the fair. I just didn't want to write that part out because it physically makes me shake with anger to talk about it. My daughter and I are both in therapy. I'm taking the advice of my therapist and the many commentators on my last post, and I'm not going to force my kids to talk to their mother. Smart idea. If these kids don't want to talk to her right now, that's on them. Okay? When they're ready, then they'll do it. Okay? I would not, especially very emotional, hormonal teenagers. That's the last thing this guy needs, or they need. They are old enough to understand the gravity of the situation and have their own feelings about it. Because of this, they will need to take their own time gathering up how they feel and dealing with it. With any help they need from me, of course. The pain my daughter is going through seems to have healed somewhat. I've gotten her to fully believe that my love for her will never change and that she will always be my daughter. Her pain seems not to be about our relationship anymore, but her newly found trust issues and trauma from the family being broken apart. I can imagine, and again, her being 15 years old, any of you guys watch me that have children and know how emotional girls get at that age, or you've been that age before, obviously, and you know what girls are like, yeah, their emotions are crazy. So I can only imagine with her, but she's got to obviously go through the emotions and and when she's ready, then she can talk to her mom if that's what she wants. She's also confided in me that she feels like it's all her fault, and that she never brought the kid home, the family would still be together. It's not her fault. I hugged her and let her know that none of this was her fault, and she was only looking for something fun to do with the family. She had no idea what would happen, and that she should never blame herself. This guy's a good guy. This guy's a good dad. And I agree with that completely. It's not the girl's fault. It's mama's fault. I've had one conversation with my soon-to-be ex-wife in which she begged and pleaded for me to forgive her and that she would cherish me for the rest of her life. She said it was stupid, it meant nothing, and she regrets it 100%. She also said she believes our love can withstand it. I told her that if our love was that strong, she wouldn't have felt the need to find sexual comfort in someone else. She is currently staying with her parents. I've communicated with her sister, and apparently she's borderline, I'm not going to say the word, but borderline thinking about ending it all. They're trying to get her help, but she refuses. And the only thing she wants to do is see me and the children. Because of this, I'm waiting to serve her the divorce papers. I don't want to add on any more things to destroy her mental health. I brought up talking to her with my son and daughter, to which they adamantly refused. I'm going to respect their wishes and give them their own time to cope. They could take the kids years. Really. I mean, I used to know a guy at the gym I worked at before I went in business for myself as a personal trainer. This is years ago. He had an unhappy marriage, but he never cheated, and he wasn't getting any from her. And eventually, he had an affair, and to no surprise, he got caught. And the wife obviously told the kids, and he hadn't spoken to his kids in years because she turned the kids against him because of that, okay? So even if, obviously it was a bad marriage, he still did that, and the kids weren't talking to him, and it was very hard for him because he loved them very much, but he had to accept that, So this mother here is going to have to accept the fact that if her kids don't want to talk to her for a while, that's it, okay? But trying to pressure them, not going to be very good. Continues on. I had this nagging feeling that she does not actually care about how it made any of us feel, and that she only cares about the fact that she's about to lose her picture-perfect family and the comfortable life that we had, and that it's her fault. I have no desire to try to fix the relationship and move forward. That's all for now. So this guy is definitely serious about ending the whole thing, okay? He's had enough. It's been too much damage and all that, and that is his decision, okay? And I don't blame him in the least, okay? But no matter what, at the end of the day, in spite of all the anger and all the things that went on, still the girl is their mother. For the kids, it's their mother, okay? And again, I got to wonder what she was like with them growing up. If she was a really great mom to them and treated them great and all that, I think in time the kids ought to really, in time when they're ready, try to forgive her, okay? Because it is their mom. No matter what you say, it is their mom, okay? And if she was really great to them, fine. If she was, was a witch to them, it was a bad family life growing up, that'd be a different ballgame. But as for the dad here, I don't blame him in the least. And this guy's a good guy. A lot of guys wouldn't react the way he is, to be honest here. But he's saying, that's it, I'm done, but this is still your mom. And he obviously wants things to be okay for her, for the kids. And he lets the girl know, hey, no matter what, I'm your dad. You don't have to worry about anything. And I respect that. So, but anyhow, guys, like I said before, you just never know. This is a perfect example of that. And it's sad, but one always has to wonder. And what are you going to do? If you're married and your wife gets pregnant, you're going to demand a paternity test every time? I mean, it's an awful mess. So, but anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know, guys, if you ever known anybody that been in a situation kind of like this, that discovered that their kid, daughter, or son wasn't theirs, or somebody you knew that discovered that their dad wasn't their dad, or something like that. Let me know in the comments section. I know you guys love to read the comments. Definitely keeps things interesting. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.